It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we got a bottle of Gower Power from Gower Brewery. Now, this beer, it comes in at 5.5% ABV in a 500 milliliter bottle, kindly sent to us by bestofbritishbeer.co.uk. This brewery, I remember I was already reviewing beer. It's funny, isn't it? There's so many breweries that launched and they're doing really well for themselves. And they I remember when they launched. So I started the channel 2010. This company's been going since 2011. And they're one of those breweries that have just had steady growth. They mind their own business. They growing without making like a fuss, if you like. And they've made a really tidy business for themselves. You can buy this in lots of the major supermarkets, and you can buy this in lots of Wetherspoons around South Wales. And they're just one of those breweries that without even really paying much attention, they've had some really solid growth. They really have. The Gower's a beautiful place. If you've ever been to the Gower Peninsula, or if you haven't been to the Gower Peninsula, you really must go. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the UK. There's the bottle cap on this one. Without further ado, let's get this beer out into a glass and see what we get. And I'm glad to see as well they've not felt the need to change the ABV. I think the appeal for this beer, the reason why this beer does so well is part of that kind of strength. They've not necessarily called it an IPA. It's 5.5% ABV. It kind of looks like a darker IPA, doesn't it? And maybe it started life out as a bit of an IPA style beer. I don't know, let me know in the comments box. So, 1 to 2 finger, slightly off-white head, good levels of carbonation on the beer. A little bit of haze there, golden amber in colour. A proper looking British pint. And I say this on the morning of budget day. It's budget day in about 3 hours time, and whenever it's budget day I always have a little look, not necessarily watch it live, but I'm always looking to see if there's going to be any incentives, any kind of help, if you like, towards the beer brewing pub industry. I think we need it. I definitely think we need it. There's a lot of pubs closing down. There's a lot of breweries that are struggling. I think something needs to be done. It is election year as well, so I think there's going to be lots of sweeties thrown around for the party to try and stay in power. So let's hope for a decent budget as well. Let's get the aroma on this beer. A little bit of sweetness. Malt, not roasted malt, but a malt sweetness coming through. Yeah, just a like a solid. I mean, back in the day, supermarket shelves, this would have been like a Suffolk strong ale, one of those heading towards vintage ales. Certainly a 5.5%. It actually got the aroma a little bit of a Fuller's ESB. Let's dive in then. Cheers, everybody. Oh, blimey. Wow, that's different. Oh, it's wow. Carbonation pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth. Lovely bitterness on the back end of this beer, but it's really quite barley-like up front. It's really kind of like chewing on some sweet barley, quite biscuity. I'm going to take a couple of sips of this beer now, just to really kind of get hold of it. It's quite a powerful beer. Whoa. That's a British IPA. Not an American IPA. That's a British IPA. That's loads of kind of biscuitiness and breadiness up front. And then you're hit with this kind of massive smack of bitterness on the back end. Wow. The bitterness is really quite raw. It's really quite like smacks you across the chops. And pardon me. Pardon me. You get that from British hops, that raw bitterness, because what you get from using American hops or American style hops is more robust flavors coming through, more of your grapefruit, your orange peels, your fleshy blood oranges. This, when you and then bitterness on the back end. But when you brew with British hops, because of our climate, it's foggy here this morning, really foggy, really kind of like pea soup out there. Because of our climate, it's a lot cooler here in the UK than say California, where all of these lovely hops are grown, New Zealand, Australia, where all of these juicy hops are grown. They're literally in these hot countries, the sun is literally giving these hops loads of different flavors. But we're not blessed with an awful. We do get hot summers here, but not like American hot summers, like a California type. And what the British hops then lack is that grapefruit, is that kind of orange peel and fleshy blood orange. So what you're left with is, you drink the beer and there's a load of sweetness from the malt, and you get that kind of like biscuitiness from the malt, and then it just transfers over like a long middle, like not much going on in the middle, and then like this bitterness on the back end being thrown at you. So it's definitely what I would call a traditional British IPA. Oh, that's as much as I like it, for me it's slightly unsessionable. I think I'd only want to drink one of these and say I probably need to move on to something else. Not so much the strength of the beer. The strength of the beer is fine, 5.5% ABV. It's just the astringent bitterness. It's the astringent bitterness on the back end that just makes you go, whoa, a little bit. Yeah. So it's available from bestofbritishbeer.co.uk. If you love your beer from small, quirky little breweries that are literally covering the whole of the UK, in every nook and cranny there's a little brewery. If you want to try beers from these breweries, some breweries that you've never heard of, then the best thing you could do is check out Best of British Beer, maybe subscribe to their subscription box, and you get a box of, you pay some money and you get a box of beer each month coming through the door, and you don't know what it is, and you don't know like what brewery it's going to be from, and it's all very much exciting because you're trying all these different beers from these different breweries, and yeah, it's quite an exciting thing to do because you never know what's coming next. So check out Best of British Beer in the comments below. There's a link. Check out their website. And I'm ready to rate this. Brewed using a blend of barley, crystal, Caragol and wheat malts. Powerful balance and endowed with a good dollop of quality whole hops. They would definitely be British hops. Welsh, warming, malty, fruity and strong. Crofty the Gower. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it looks good, doesn't it? It looks really good. But it's definitely, if I was in the supermarket, you know, your 4 for 3 deal in the supermarket, I wouldn't necessarily go, oh, I'm going to buy 4 Gower Powers. I reckon I'd have maybe 1, maybe 2 at a push, and then maybe a couple of their oyster stouts or other beers in the aisle. Definitely 1 or 2 max. It's just the raw bitterness for me that just takes the sessionability out of it. It's literally a 1 beer, have it maybe once a week, but move on to something else. It looks good. It smells good. They really hit the nail on the head with the name. It's a really, really powerful beer. Powerful with the malt, powerful with the hops. Gower Power is a great name for this beer. I like it, but I'd only want once a week. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.